What if you could execute a high-stakes crypto trade with just a single text message? Seriously. Well, that's exactly what we're digging into today with a platform called TRADOOR. And it's a wild one. Let's get into it.
So picture this. You've decided you want to make a highly leveraged trade. But instead of, firing up a super complex trading terminal, you just pull out your phone. You just pop open Telegram, type a simple little command to a bot, and boom. Just like that, you've opened a leveraged trade on crypto futures. It's a 3-step process that literally takes seconds.
Yeah, you heard that right. No intimidating charts staring back at you. No pro interfaces with a million buttons. It is just you, a chatbot, and the entire crypto market. And that is the whole idea behind TRADOOR. So what is this, really? Is this the natural evolution of trading, making it accessible for everyone? Or are we just oversimplifying one of the most dangerous markets in crypto to a pretty reckless degree? That's the big question we're going to try and unpack here.
All right, so to even begin to answer that, we've got to get into the nitty-gritty. How does this whole trading from your chat app thing even work?
Okay, so at its core, TRADOOR is a decentralized platform for trading derivatives. Decentralized just means no single company is in charge. And derivatives means you're not actually buying Bitcoin, you're trading contracts based on its price. This is what lets you use leverage, which, as we know, can make you a lot of money or lose you a lot of money really fast.
But here's the kicker. TRADOOR's goal isn't to be just another crypto exchange. No, their mission is to completely change who trades and how they do it. It's not built for the Wall Street pro, it's built for the everyday retail user, aiming to make the whole thing faster, more social, and way, way more accessible. And think about the advantages of using an app like Telegram, right? The barrier to entry just collapses. You don't have to learn some crazy new software. This means you can execute a trade incredibly fast. And because you're already on a social platform, the whole thing feels more social, which is a massive departure from how trading usually feels. Okay, but, and this is a big but, this is where the story gets a little darker. Because for every advantage, there's a downside, and the one here is pretty huge. Let's talk about the danger that comes with all this simplicity.
And this slide, man, it really lays it all out. The promise is amazing. Make high-stakes trading as simple as sending a text. But the risk? Well, you're also making catastrophic, impulsive losses easier than ever before. When you remove all the friction from a really high-risk activity, you basically open the door for impulsive decisions to run wild.
And I need to be absolutely crystal clear about what's at stake here. We are not talking about just buying some crypto and holding on. No. Derivatives are, without a doubt, the single most high-risk product in this entire space, period. So you might be asking, why? What makes them so risky? Well, it's kind of like a perfect storm. The high leverage means even a small price movement can either multiply your money or just wipe you out completely. Liquidations are automatic and brutally fast, and the market itself is just wildly volatile. It's an environment tailor-made for emotional, gut-feeling decisions. Making that process easier is a very bold strategy.
You know, the risk isn't just on the user's side of the table. The platform itself is stepping into an arena to fight against absolute giants.
See, a project like this can't survive just because it has a cool, easy-to-use interface. That's not enough. There's something else, something happening behind the scenes that's way, way more critical to its survival. And that something is liquidity. We're talking about constant, deep pools of assets ready to be traded at any second. Without that, the whole system just grinds to a halt. Prices get all weird, you can't get in or out of a trade, and the risk for everybody on the platform shoots through the roof. It is the absolute lifeblood. And when you look at who they're up against, wow. TRADOOR is the new kid on the block in a neighborhood run by titans. You've got established decentralized players like Hyperliquid and GMX who have huge head starts. And then you've got the final boss, centralized exchanges like Binance that control a massive chunk of the entire global market. TRADOOR is a challenger in a very, very crowded space. So this brings us to the real make or break question for the project, doesn't it? Can a cool user experience on Telegram really be enough to pull all that deep established liquidity away from these giants? That is the billion-dollar question. So, after all that, what's the final verdict? How should we really think about a project like TRADOOR? Well, the best way to look at it, honestly, isn't as just another exchange, but as a massive experiment. It's not just one thing, right? It's like a mix of a decentralized derivatives exchange, a social trading app, and this is the big one, a really bold experiment in user experience. It's basically testing the theory that making something super easy to use can overcome every other challenge. And when you boil it down, you see the biggest hurdles they face. The products are complex, the risk of loss is extreme, the competition is brutal, they're desperate for liquidity, and keeping users around is tough. You know what's interesting? Most of these aren't technology problems. They're human behavior problems. Which brings us to what might be the single most important thing to remember from this entire explainer. When you make it easier to access really high-risk products, you don't actually reduce the risk itself. All you do is increase the user's exposure to that risk. So, I'll leave you with this final, kind of tough question to chew on. What's the right path forward here? Should we be fighting to make these powerful financial tools more accessible to absolutely everyone, even with the danger? Or should access to this level of extreme risk be more controlled, more protected? There's really no easy answer to that one.